Absolutely shocking scenes in Brussels earlier today as the city's mayor and police attempted to shut down a Conservative conference featuring Nigel Farage and Suella Braverman. Police were summoned to the venue just as Farage took to the stage, with one local mayor tweeting, "I issued an order from the mayor to ban the National Conservatism Conference event to guarantee public safety." In Etterbeek, Brussels City and Saint-José, the far right is not welcome. Well, interesting then that the very same Brussels mayor, or I think the person above him actually, was happy to host ex-paramilitary Iranian official Ali Reza Zaghani last summer, despite him being placed under sanctions by the UK. Well, predictably, Nigel was far from happy.
No, I'm sorry, it's before the watershed. I really can't tell you what I think. He must be the most ghastly little person.
And the Belgian Prime Minister has since hit back, tweeting that the action was unacceptable and that any banning of political meetings is unconstitutional. So tonight, I am asking, should the Brussels mayor apologise for silencing Nigel Farage? Let me know your thoughts. Head to gbnews.com/your say or tweet me at GBNews. While you're there, why not vote in our poll? The results will follow very shortly. But first, going head-to-head on this are the President of the Irish Freedom Party, Herman Kelly, and the Deputy Leader of the Rejoin EU Party, Richard Morley. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Great to have you both on the show. Herman, I will start with you. Is Nigel Farage owed an apology, do you think?
Absolutely, and all the people of Belgium. I attended the event myself today. It wasn't just Nigel Farage, Suella Braverman, who I met, but also Viktor Orban, the current Prime Minister of Hungary, the former Prime Minister of Poland. You had a lot of well-known, democratically elected politicians who have the right, and actually they have the public mandate to speak up and to voice their opinion, and to be called extremist in any way by a guy actually who I believe is a gopher for Erdogan. And it wasn't just one mayor, it was actually three mayors, because the event was shut down. This was the third attempt. Two venues had already been cancelled because of the political pressure of local mayors in Belgium. So yes, absolutely, he should apologise to Nigel Farage and to the people of Belgium.
All right, OK. Richard, Nigel Farage described this as something out of the Soviet Union playbook. I mean, that's what it is, isn't it? Send the boys in blue round on the order of red in the bed?
Well, I mean, the mayor of Brussels has a perfectly reasonable and proper duty to uphold public order in the city in which he's been elected. You must remember that the Brussels mayor is speaking for the people of Brussels, and the people of Brussels are not happy to have a right-wing conference held in their city. You must remember also that Europe has actually lived under a fascist government. Brussels was occupied by a fascist regime. We in Europe know of the dangers that these parties can create far more than the British do, who have never actually experienced it in Britain as it's been experienced here in Europe.
Can I just ask what fascism was on display today, Richard?
Oh, it's not the necessary. No one is saying that the people that were there at the conference today are fascists in the same way as Hitler was. Of course not. But the point is, you must remember the fear that people have in Europe about right-wing politicians is very, very deep indeed, born from very bitter experience. And the mayor has a perfect right to prevent public
Richard,
disorder.
I'm sorry, but that is, if you don't mind me saying, a bit stupid, right? Because if the people have a fear of something, I mean, like, you know, I've got a fear of spiders, right? But that doesn't stop me being in the same room as them. That doesn't stop me cohabiting with a spider in my flat, does it? And if you're saying that nobody there actually is exhibiting fascist views, then that is an unfounded fear, and they need to grow up, don't they?
No, I don't think so at all. You must remember that this basic conference is all about opposing the unity of Europe. It's all about establishing independent nations in Europe to try to basically break up the strength of the European Union. Now, that is extremely important, far more important than your spiders, because, of course, if Europe isn't strong in the face of Russian aggression, if Europe is divided into lots of little nation states that then start warring against each other, the point is that Nigel Farage will be the first person to oppose Viktor Orban, If Viktor Orban actually had independence
all right,
from
Herman,
Europe,
I'll bring you in. I just wonder whether or not the mask slipped slightly there, because actually the reality is that he's saying that. Yeah, okay, you've spoken long enough. Go on, Herman.
Okay, can I say, is it Godwin's law? Is this like upper sixth debate where the first person to mention called your opponent Hitler loses? So, Richard, you've lost already. Secondly, unlike spiders, the right to free speech is the foundation of a free and democratic society. For people's right to express their opinions and their political opinions in the public sphere is a fundamental right. And the Prime Minister of Belgium said that this evening, that what happened was unconstitutional because it undermined the right to free speech and free assembly. Richard, they are the basic fundamentals of European civilization, right? So
yes, the
whole thing that you are, Richard, you are like the Japanese soldier who appeared out of the jungle in the islands there. I believe it was in. Let's see.
All right. Let him come back to that. Let him come back to that. Go on, Richard. Come back to that.
You lost the Brexit referendum, and now you're looking to undermine a fundamental value of free speech.
Richard, you don't care about free speech. That's the allegation.
Yes, right. But in this conference, Viktor Orban was one of the premier people speaking. We all think that this conference was called off because of Nigel Farage. Do not think for one moment that Nigel Farage has any importance in Europe whatsoever. But Viktor Orban does. Now, there is a man who has not only suppressed free speech in Hungary, but he's suppressed anything which opposes him. And this man is sent to this conference. And that is one of the reasons why people were so fearful of this conference, that if that type of politics is allowed to simply run riot
he's democratically
in the streets
elected. Richard, I'll just put it to you that you don't like views and you want to cancel them. Herman, is that the case?
Yes, look, but one moment to come back to you.
Unlike you, Richard, Viktor Orban is a democratically elected, and he's got a very large majority. And you also had the former Prime Minister of Poland.
As was
you had representatives from very...
Hitler? Why did you bring up Hitler?
Can I speak, Richard?
Because Hitler was democratically elected.
Yeah, just let Herman talk. Stop, Richard. Stop, Richard. Richard, stop. And let Herman finish. It's ridiculous. Go on, Herman.
Richard, Viktor Orban is elected, democratically elected of his country with a very large majority. As I said, the former Prime Minister of Poland was there. A lot of very important and well-known political figures were there to have a debate and a forum about politics. Right. When the Prime Minister of Belgium admits that what happened today was against constitutional rights, I think we should wake up and say, do you know what happened when three mayors they don't have political arguments, so they're using the state police to impose their will when their flimsy arguments don't work. That's what's going on. And you should apologise, Richard.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't think we're going to get that, are we? We'll be here all night if that was the case. But both of you, thank you very much. Proper head-to-head, as we expect. It's the President of the Irish Freedom Party, Herman Kelly, and the Deputy Leader of Rejoin EU Party, Richard Morley. Right, look, who do you agree with? Should the Mayor of Brussels apologise for shutting down the NatCon conference? Your verdict is now in, and I did see the way this was going on Twitter earlier on, and you do love to see it. This is democracy in action. 49% of you think that the Mayor of Brussels should apologise to Nigel Farage. 51% of you say that he shouldn't. Oh, it's closer than the Brexit referendum. Well done to everybody, and I do mean everybody who took part in that poll. I know you are.